Here we are. We're live. So here we are again. We're doing a an American broadcast today on checking in with some musos and what's happening with this whole COVID situation. And we have Sammy in. Where are you, Sammy?
I'm in Black Oak, Arkansas, which is like a little bitty blip by Jonesboro, Arkansas, which is ironically my band's name as well. So,
Yes. Right. Cool. And so it's Sammy B. So fine,
yeah,
isn't it?
so far that's what Jim calls me. It started out as Sammy B. Seauphine because I'm from Louisiana and all. But then Jim, put his spin on it, and so it is Sammy B. So fine and dandy, because he's Jim Dandy. So
Of course, of
uh,
course. So, with I'm a Sean Lane fan, so guitar player, and Sean Lane actually played in this band a long time ago. So it'd be good. Maybe next time we can get Jim on. So, can you maybe tell us? So, Jim is actually, for those who don't know in Australia, Jim is or Black Oak, Arkansas is actually quite a big band in America, right?
It is. They've been around since 1963. Really, they started as
Wow.
the No Adults, when they were kids, and him and Ricky Lee have been together since they were children anyway. But yeah, they started as Nobody Else, and then in 1969 they signed with Atlantic, and became Black Oak, Arkansas. So yeah,
What?
they've been around for a long, long time.
Yeah. Wow. And how many records have they put out during that
Um,
time?
I know over 18, so and then we just put out the new one too, so it's 19, and that's not including like the unreleased stuff that they have too as well.
Of course. Of
But,
course.
but we did just finish a new album, and that was from last year, and it's called Underdog Heroes, and that was actually with Cleopatra Records and a Purple Pyramid put that one out. So that's our
Oh,
most recent. Mhm.
and what studio? Because I know in Memphis was the birth of rock and roll, actually. So, because I remember going through Sun Studios in Memphis where they have the demonstration of the first distorted guitar. Right? Someone had a speaker on top of the car. That's what the story is. And before they went into Sun Studio, the speaker fell off the top of the car, broke the speaker cone, so it was making this distorted sound. And they fell in love with that sound. And next thing you know, they're building that kind of thing into a preamp. Anyway, so I'm getting off topic myself here, but so the studio. What studio did you guys record at?
Oh, you said you were a Sean Lane fan, so we actually recorded the whole album at Sean Lane Studios there on Cooper. It's
Oh,
831 Cooper, I think. Don't quote me on that one, but Sean Lane Studios, and we actually finished it at Royal Studios with Boo Mitchell, and he did help the mixed and mastering, and did the production on it with Ricky
so
Lee and
with Bill Mitchell, can you maybe elaborate on his credits? What?
Boo.
Yeah.
Man, Boo Mitchell goes way back in Memphis. Royal Studios has been around for a long time. His dad had it, and then Boo took it over. But if you know AC/DC Back in Black album, Boo did it. He actually, let's see, won an Emmy or might
ACDC.
he actually, Mars is, I can't remember if it's his last album or the one before, and he won an award for that one as well. So yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah, he is very famous producer himself, and Boo's a good man. So.
This is crazy. You know, I remember when I was in Memphis, I was playing at the Rock House Live. I did send us some invitations to other people in America to jump on. So if they jump on, they jump on. It might be a bit late for them. What time is it in America right now?
Well, right now here is at 9:25 p.m. at my
PM.
house.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, it's I don't know what time it is. I only just got up, so it's just lunchtime. So rock and roll. But I was playing at a bar, and the touring drummer for Toto was at a Monday night jam night, and I think the bass player from Starship. We
Oh,
built this city. Yeah, like
yeah.
just sensational. And I think when I was, remember Big Boy, the harp player, I,
Oh,
I
yeah.
jammed with him on Beale Street. Yeah, and there
Yeah,
was a
Barton.
drummer. Yeah, that's his
Yeah.
name. Yeah.
The drummer was actually T Model Ford's grandson, and his name is Stubbs.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, when I met you, I was working at Rock House Live, and I was also singing for Black Oak, but I was working at Rock House, and we had you come down to Bill Street, and you sat in with us, and it was
Yeah.
Sean Bad Apple, And Big Boy was a Big Boy Martin Grant. He actually is in the Blues Hall of Fame now, for being a harp player. And then because he passed
Really?
away. Yeah, he passed away not too long after you sat in with us.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
Carl White is, and he calls himself Stud, and he plays the guitar and also drums. But he is T. Model Ford's grandson. So I played with a lot of blues musicians before I got back into rock and roll. So yeah,
Yeah, well, it's amazing the history and just the level of musicianship just locally. You know,
that,
yeah, it's amazing. I
yeah,
love
you
it.
know,
I love it. I love it.
it was just it was crazy. But you was all over. You were all over Memphis whenever you came in.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Yeah, because as soon as they know that you can play guitar, I was straight into. I got to go through the Ardent Studios and the history of, that's where they did Led Zeppelin 3, and
Yep.
I think ACDC recorded there as well at some stage, and just their client list is just like draw dropped on the ground. And the actual really cool thing, because I got the After Hours tour, and they presented me with Rolling Stone. I think it was Keith Richards' guitar, Les Paul. That was all decorated. They said, "Hey, you're from Australia. Here, play this." And so that was amazing. And then I got to go around and see they had a Mellotron there, which was the actual Mellotron used on Strawberry Fields Forever on the
Yeah.
Beatles record. Is like, what? This is just mind blowing. And then went to Studio C, which is ZZ Top, Billy Gibbons financed, I believe. He financed that, and I was like, why do you have PowerPoints on the roof? Like, what kind of hardware? And I kid you not, this was the answer. They said the only reason we have, I don't know, what do you call PowerPoints in America? Outlets or something? What do you
Yeah,
call them?
outlets.
Outlets.
Outlets. Yeah. Yeah.
And it sounded like pikelets, like mini pancakes when you say it with an accent. But I was like, why do you even have those on the roof? This is pretty weird. And they said, I kid you not, that they had to run fairy lights for ZZ Top, because when they record, they like to have the ambient lighting. So that was hilarious. That was cool. But and the other thing, really cool thing, was the record machine that they cut the masters on is the
Uh-huh.
same one they've had all along. And
That's right.
so this is the same machine that they would have done. Jimmy Page and all these guys would have seen the same deal. They would have seen it, and it's just it
I've
was
been
that
in.
was cool.
I got to record. It was in Studio B though. I got to record, and it was so
Oh,
freaking awesome. It was, to look at all of the history that's been in that building, and the same thing with going to Royal Studios or going to Sean Lane Studios, because it's got all the
yeah,
Sean Lane memorabilia, and everything else, and just you walking in the building, you can feel them. So it's been a wild ride, but I mean, going into all these different places, especially in Memphis, it's just like
yeah,
so freaking historic. So
yeah. So in Sean Lane's studio, because I would love to go there. Just put that on a wish list one day. I'd love to do some
all right.
shredding there of some descript. But yeah, what do they have in there? Do they have like a I don't know if you know all the geary stuff, but a big console of some descript, or
Well, actually, Dan Ward was the one who was recording us, and I mean, he had an amazing setup. But as far as recording wise goes, I don't know if they're still recording there, 'cause they had him kind of renting the room from the owner, who is Birchfield, is who owns that. But Boo Mitchell, he'd be the one I would say to go to as far as that goes. If you want to be recorded by anybody, and he's one of the best. He has
yeah.
everything. His rig looks like, a spaceship.
Yeah, yeah, but it's amazing. Yeah, and it's funny, all the pioneering that happens there, because studio ways that they're doing things, like they pioneered it. A lot of them. I mean, of course, the distorted guitar was pioneered there, and there was another. I'm trying to think of the other thing I learnt. Just engineering time, but having besides the musicians. Sorry, I can't remember the other thing that I was going to say, but besides the musicians, all the technical people that live there. Like I ran into some Grammy Award winning engineers, and exactly what you just said. A couple of people that worked on your record have won prestigious awards. It's what a scene, and you just run into them at just a little bar down the road.
Like, whenever we was living in Memphis, Jim Dandy, he became like common as tap water is what he'd say, because you would be going into like Cash Saver or go down to, Popular Lounge or, Rock House Newtown, and he'd just be sitting there next to the freaking jukebox, with his head laid up on the jukebox listening to whatever. So it's
Yeah.
amazing that you run into and you meet along the way, how famous they really are, and they're just the most humble people that you'd ever meet. So
And I'm glad you mentioned Midtown there at Popular Lounge. I was with Zach when he got the lease on that venue. I was actually there the day they got the key, and I walked through the venue on the very first day before it was rebranded Rockhouse Live. And being a Sean Lane fan, I watched that thing on YouTube where I think when Eric Johnson came out with Cliffs of Dover, there's a video of Sean Lane just cutting it to pieces. And I was like, oh, that'd be so cool to play there. And I did, because that's where Sean Lane played, was in the Poplar Lounge, which is now Rockhouse. Is just
they had the stage was actually, where they come into now to Rock House, at Popular Lounge. And so
yeah,
I've seen him playing there, and it was amazing. I wish I could have seen him live, but
yeah. Me too, me too.
I still go out to his grave site though, and you have to give him a peanut butter cup. That's what he always ate, and you place it
Oh,
on his grave every time we went out there. So.
wow. And do you know? Do the boys in the band still talk about Sean Lane's playing back in the day?
Oh yes. Oh my God. Johnny Bolin, he is still with us. He's our drummer, and he was also Tommy Bolin's brother. And Tommy played, of course, Deep Purple and Tommy Bolin band, and everything. The James
What?
Gang and all. So they talk about him, pretty regular. Ricky Lee's been with Jim, the entire time they've been together. So of course they always have great stories about Sean Lane. And Jim said how he found him was he saw him doing flips, running up the side of the wall and just doing backward flips as he was playing. And he's like, I
What?
gotta have. That's how he found him. And so he went to his mom and grandma, and told them that he would take care of them and everything. And so that's how he got the permission to even go. So
Wow, it's because he was. Oh, there we go. We'll just put something. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony. So, how old was Sean Lane when he got recruited in his first professional act?
he was actually 14 whenever Jim first seen him. So I think he was right around his 15th birthday. So he was fairly young. And he was with him, I know, at the time he was 16, 17 too, as
Yeah,
well. So he was with him for a
yeah,
while.
yeah. I really like his concept of playing fast, and as you know, I like to play guitar fast as well. And it's like learning how to drive a sports car. Well, that's my analogy, and not that I own a sports car, but I like to go fast. But driving at thank you, Tom Atkins. But driving at speed is a different experience to driving slow. So if you want to play fast, you just have to play fast, and the rest will sort it out.
Yeah,
It
he was like insanely fast. I mean, even some of the fastest guitarists in the world right now cannot replicate.
He's
Yeah,
a
his
monster.
music.
Yeah.
He has a song that is on our new album right now that he played on, and they found it on an old DAT. And
Oh
actually,
wow, cool.
so Do Unto Others on our new album, Underdog Heroes, Do Unto Others is Sean Lane playing.
Oh man, that
Yeah, you're
is
gonna have.
awesome. Awesome. So can you just say the record again? What's the name of the new record?
Yes, Underdog Heroes. Like, never fear, underdogs here.
That must be an American thing. But it's funny though. Yeah, right. Cool. And what track number is Sean Lane playing on that?
I want to say it's 10 or 11. It's Do Unto Others, though, is the name of the song. So don't quote me on that, but I believe it is.
Oh, very good. And so you said you've actually penned a song as well that went on to the album.
It's Jim wrote it, of course. It was written for a time of my life where I didn't make a lot of good decisions. And so I dated a guy, and he literally tried to kill me, as I'm trying to leave. And I mean, he's just like and that's why
Oh,
you always check cabs, people. Always check them. Anyway, I told him, I was like, I think you're the devil, and he said, well, if I'm the devil, then you're the devil's daughter. And I said, well, I'm a rebel against the devil. So,
oh,
I had to, and
wow.
so that's how Devil's Daughter ended up coming about. Because Jim just found that just delightful that I'd even say that. And so henceforth, the devil's daughter was born. But I keep telling people, I'm a rebel against the devil. I'm not the devil's daughter.
So
It's a great.
actually, sorry, what was that?
I said it's a great song though. It's really a woman's empowerment song, so it's really
Oh, oh, looking
yeah.
forward to it. So with actually songwriting, with established people in Black Oak, Arkansas, is it actually is it intimidating? Like when you present it to a band, like actually, what's the process? So you pen a song. Sorry.
I said, oh man, yeah, it's definitely intimidating because I mean these guys have been around forever compared to me, but we're all really close as a family. So I mean
Yeah.
they take it in, with open arms. Whereas if you was with a band and just as a hired gun or whatever you want to say, then they would probably turn it about. But I mean they're all about people being creative within themselves. So we try to maintain a good family aspect about it.
Right. So the process is you write the song and and whatever that may be, you do the lyrics and the chords, etc. And do you present it just on acoustic guitar, or do you actually record it on a device, or what do you do?
Record, yeah, I try to record it as I can on an app called Velocity, actually, and it's a free thing, and I mean just to get the feel of it. Or Ricky will record a riff, on a tape recorder in his room. Be like, all right, Sammy, what do you think about this? And so we'll go from there. And so and that's the way we've been doing it for a while now. So
Because I've spoken to a few engineers, very high level. I'll name drop them later, but that actual process of presenting a song, if you present it to a band with just singing and acoustically, sure, but it gives them time to interrupt and say, no, 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 we don't like that. And then people take it personally. But the actual process of pre-recording it and presenting it to them on, like on an iPhone or something like that, people tend to stop and listen to the whole thing. I don't know. It was just a very interesting concept on idea presentation, because as soon as you externalize it, it's not personal, right? It's on
right.
another device. So I thought that was actually quite clever, because it was a producer who made anyone who had an idea present it on an external device, not actually do it live. Yeah. So I was just interested, what you do with that. So going back to Jim Dandy, because he's been writing songs for a long time, what's his
Yeah.
writing process? Are we allowed to divulge what's some
Man,
secrets there?
he is chaos. He's like chaos with a capital C. He, I'm trying to get my dog to stop barking now. But
Oh, okay.
anyway, he usually writes a bunch of like scribbles, on little napkins or something wherever he is in the house at the time. And he's like, oh, this is a good idea. And then he comes back, and he'll rewrite it 400 or 500 times before he is
Wow.
where like he has to have the lyrics just right. They have to be, and the power of the dandyism is what he calls it.
That's interesting. So he actually refines lyricism. Yeah, right. That's awesome. And
Because
and just a question, because I'm a music educator as well. So, and I respect how much this guy's written, because if it's 19 albums over a career, that's a ton of stuff. So, just the process of that, actually keep refining, refining, refining. Was that something he did? I mean, not unless you guys haven't discussed it, but is it just happened, or he
he
was
just
taught?
he did it naturally. Same with Ricky Lee. Ricky Lee wrote a lot of the songs too, but he writes a lot of the music as well. And I mean, it's like watching two artists. I mean, they're both so articulate, and being where Jim came from. He come from Black Oak, Arkansas, so he didn't have the education. A lot of people would have been from just experiencing his life. So it's amazing to see it all in action. And Ricky Lee will come up with music in his head while he's sleeping, like literally,
Wow.
and he picks up and writes, the notes to it, or he writes his lyrics to it, or whatever. And so it's amazing to watch it all in action.
Wow, that's really really cool. And with musical direction, so if when he writes his song, so it's got the lyricisms all checked out. With getting the rest of the rhythm section together, and when you're tracking and recording that, does he have a say in? I don't like the feel. it feels too heavy. We need to back the tones of the guitar off. Do we need to have more drums? So maybe that's a
He,
producer's role, but I'm just asking how much he has to do with it.
no, for our last album, they actually got a chance to produce it themselves. So Boo did help with that, but so Jim would stop us and be like, "No, let's do this way."
So he can't help himself. All right.
I mean, everybody had like a good time, but as far as having a hard time in the studio, he'd wait until I got up there, to sing my song or something. And I was 8 months
Thanks, Tom.
pregnant with my, and he would just give me hell through the glass with funny faces and all kind of shit. But yeah, he would always uh listen to the song, a few times and be like, okay, let's try this, let's change this. And everybody kind of went with the flow, so it wasn't so bad. But yeah, they had to have it the way that they wanted it to sound because to Jim and Ricky, it was really important for them to produce this album because it is the sound of the Black Oak that they know and love that's in their hearts instead of
Yep.
somebody else how it should sound. So
Yeah.
it was
And
really
with
uh,
that's really good. And with the that's talking about the parts, but the sounds, was he more directive with, giving, say, if I was the guitarist, he would say, hey, put a clean sound on it or put a dirty sound. Like, would he give direction on the sound? I
oh
mean,
yes,
right, okay.
would which Ricky Lee would do that mainly more
Or
than
cowbell. That's classic. Thanks, Dom.
I love that. I love that. Christopher Walken is a man. Uh,
Yeah,
Ricky
sorry.
would
Yeah,
Ricky would actually be the more the maestro for our music. So he would be like, "Okay, can you make it sound like this?" And he would go to a T, walk you through it, and oh my God, it would just come out just so amazing. We actually had one guitarist that played on it, Caleb Boyles, and I mean Ricky had him sounding like really smooth. He played on uh, Arkansas Medicine Man is one of the songs on our album, and it come out just mystical the way he played. And Ricky Lee actually walked him through what they wanted it to sound like. And it was pretty neat watching that too as well.
yeah, wow. So a lot of that, when you say he walked him through, was that like headspace setting for the actual? I think Frankie's just coming online there. Hang on one sec, Frankie. I'll get you in a sec, man. Um,
Like, he made it.
yeah, he made it. He made it. He made. Yeah. So just finishing this question. So with keeping the person in the right headspace to do the recording, is that what you mean? Keeping them on track?
Yeah, and since he had just came in to really kind of help us out, it was more or less getting them into the heart of the song and how it should feel, or how they wanted it to feel, of course, on the recording. But being as humble as Ricky really is, he's like a big old teddy bear. I mean, just talking with him, you knew exactly what he wanted just by listening to him speak about how passionate he was about the solo in the song or what he wanted to do. And I mean, Caleb pulled it off immaculate. So
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. I think Frankie's gone away there, so I'll ask another question. The no, he's there, but the phone's pointing at the light, so I won't put that on just yet. Looks like dark side of the moon. There's a big moon on there. But with the actual recording, like I guess there's a lot of people who record at home and they become self-sufficient with everything, but with recording a band inside the studio, blah blah blah, there's a lot of people management that go into it, and I think a lot of people might misinterpret that because you can be a great task manager and say, "Hey, I want this technically," but you need to be able to deliver that to the people to actually get everyone
that's
on the
right.
same page emotionally to play.
That's where Sean Lane, the track he played on, whenever me and Jim and Ricky were discussing even playing it live, I don't know anybody that can play this man's licks. And so when you hear the song, Doug, it's on YouTube. They have it free as well
Yeah.
for people to hear it before they buy it. Go listen to Do Unto Others, and you tell me if you could play.
I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to give it a go, man. I love Sean Lane. Like, he's amazing. He did this really wide. Oh, I can't even. There we go. It's all opposite on this. You point left and it goes right. It's just weird. Um, yeah, yeah. And that's probably because I'm down under, right? Because you're in the northern hemisphere. Yeah, I'm really excited. Sorry, what's that?
I've got my phone sitting on a swivel thing. There you go. There you go.
Okay, cool. Oh, we'll get Frankie in one sec, but yeah, I'm so excited that Sean Lane lives again because he's a monster guitar player and it's fantastic. Yeah, like he really set the bar for a lot of things. And what was so rock and roll in one of his interviews, they asked, "How do you practice playing fast?" He goes, "No, like just a natural, just a natural." But I might get Frankie to drop in here. So here we go, ready to go, Frankie. And hello, Frankie. How you going, sir?
Hey, how y'all doing?
I'm Doug. So I haven't actually met. Oh, here we go. Hemispheres go make it go right to left. So I haven't met Frankie before personally. So thanks, Sammy, for sorting this out. So Frank is that we're actually live on YouTube and Facebook, and I'm a musician, guitar player, and so if you'd like to maybe introduce what you do and how you do it, you're a bit of a legend on the Memphis scene, I believe.
I am. My name is Frankie Hollie, and I'm with the band Frankie Hollie and the Noise, and we play all over Memphis. We play all over everywhere. I guess anywhere that'll pay us, I guess we'll be there.
So my question then, Frankie, or maybe because you're both touring musicians, how has this whole COVID-19 situation just crushed the music industry because no people gatherings, and how are you guys surviving in Memphis with no income?
Well, it's definitely taken a toll on a bunch of people that I personally know, especially the ones that play on a regular basis. Yeah, it took a big toll on a bunch of people. It did our band especially. I mean, we're one of those groups that like to play 3 or 4 times a week, and you add that up for 2 months being off, and that adds up quick.
Right. So are you doing something else to keep the money going in?
Yeah, I'm doing something else. I'm actually the owner of a company called Extreme Clean. So
Yeah, right.
I take care of vacant homes. I'm not doing too much in houses that people are in because of the whole COVID-19.
Yeah, right.
I'm lucky I get to go in vacant homes for real estate agents. So I get a little bit going on, but it's still, I miss the shows. The shows is what I live for, and being on stage is what I live for. And if I can't, you pull that from me, and it's just like any of us. You pull that from any of us, and it kills our hearts.
And yeah, Sammy, what do you say about that? Like, are you missing what's been happening?
I love being home with my baby boy, but I'm telling you, I miss being on stage. I miss being out there. You can write as many songs as you want, but not being around people that you care about, and not being able to socialize at all, that can kind of kill the spirit of a musician.
Right. Or maybe if we reflect on rock and roll stories, Frankie, you want to go first? Do you have a funny rock and roll story that's happened on stage?
A funny rock and roll story that happened on stage, like something that happened to me.
Yeah, sure.
Or just something in general.
Maybe both.
One night. I've got a ton of those stories actually. One night we was playing at a club downtown called Red Rooster, and Red Rooster's no longer open. But
we got shops over here called Red Rooster.
It was a real cool place. The owners were super friendly. They fed us alcohol all night, which was even better. But anyway, at one point I ran off the stage, and I was out in the audience playing my guitar. I was up on a table, and then I jumped off the table and ran back toward the stage. And whenever I went around the corner to go up on the stage, there was a couch there on the couch to jump up on the stage, and the whole couch slid out from under me, and I did a dive roll onto the stage for everyone. It was fun.
Wow, commando roll. That's cool.
Yeah.
And what about?
I never missed a beat though. That cool part was I didn't scratch my guitar, and I never missed a beat.
And what?
If you wouldn't have been there to see it when it happened, you would have just missed it.
Oh,
it was fun.
And what about you, Sam?
I thank Jägermeister for that.
Oh, right. And what about you, Sam? Do you have any rock and roll stories?
Well, I'm gonna say I've got a lot of them. I mean, being on tour with Black Oak is like being in a Monty Python movie at all times. Okay.
That's fun.
Okay. So this particular night then in question, so everybody was half drunk on stage, of course, but I don't drink on stage, so I was doing very well. Anyway, so Tim, reaches over and grabs my towel to dab his face and all, and puts the towel behind me on the drum ride. And as I go to grab my towel to blot my face, and I'm sweating because if you've ever seen our show, it's like I'm all over the stage. Okay, I don't
Right.
pick one. I'm everywhere. So anyway, I go to grab this towel and I go to blot my face and I feel something really hard inside. What ended up happening is he put his teeth into my towel.
Oh.
So his false teeth in my towel. He grabs them and then proceeds to be like an alien across the stage, putting them in his hand and harassed everybody on stage with it. Okay. And as he did so, I almost fell off the stage, and me about being the drunk one, and it was like a 40-foot drop. So it would have been horrible.
Oh, how much?
It would have been bad. Yeah.
How high was the stage? How high was the stage?
It was 40 by 60 or, a huge freaking festival stage. Big drop.
I don't understand that. I need that in meters.
Look, I don't do meters.
It's a big stage. That's I think for me probably a rock and roll story is oh, that's right. I was doing a Rage Against the Machine tribute, and I was pretending to be Tom Morello, clearly, but we're on the tour with the Australian Rage Against the Machine show. We're in a town called Mackay, and hired in all this crew and had these big speakers up. And we started off, the first song we started off with Bulls on Parade. So, the first riff, da-da, 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 and this dude climbs up the speaker stack and falls off and brings the, 12 meters. Someone just converted it. Thank you. Thank you. That's he can spell my name too. Yeah, so rock and roll story. So first song, we didn't even get like 16 bars in, and someone's already crushed the PA. So anyway, we had to stop the show, put the PA back together, and then just before I start, I've never had any transmission issues, like interference, and then all of a sudden I get this Indian radio station broadcasting through my amplifier, and that was like the whole night. So my God, it was pretty embarrassing. Yeah, but anyway, back to Frankie. What else? What other things what kind of clubs or other tours that you've done around the States? And actually, maybe if you want to explain the genre of music you play as well.
We're actually a rock and country, like a mixture of rock and country, but mostly country. I've played with Jason Aldean a couple times. I've done a few shows with Colt Ford, Craig Morgan, Rhett Akins, Josh Grayson, just to name a few. I could probably go on, but
can name drop.
Why?
Yep, cool.
That's
good.
We love what we do, and we love what we do, and we have a good time doing it. And we invite and encourage everyone to come out and check out one of our shows. We'd love to see your face.
Yeah, that's good. And what about yourself, Sam? What with Black Oak, Arkansas? What other big names have you guys done gigs with?
Oh Lord, man, we've been with everybody from Leonard Skinner to Foghat, Molly Hatchet. You name it, and we've done a gig with them. They've been AC/DC, Aerosmith, Zeppelin.
I was lucky. I got Sammy on my stage once or twice.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Yeah. Wow. How cool is that? Yeah. So where did they do the bill when they played with Zeppelin? Do you remember what town that was in?
Remember now? Oh God, no, I can't remember. Don't give me a line. Okay, I have to go through all the flyers. But I've got flyers. I will find it though for you.
Yeah, no, I'm very interested. But it's funny, Sorry, you go.
I said the best one though had to be the Leonard Skinner and Blackfoot show we played in 2016, and that was at the Providence Amphitheater, and it was 18,000 people out there for that one. It was amazing.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, that's sensational. And Frankie, what about your gear? What kind of gear? So, do you guys get to still play loud in the clubs in Memphis, or is there like decibel limits that you have to be nice and soft?
Well, you know what? The thing is they do try to control your volume at a lot of these clubs, but I'm one of these rebel bands that I won't let you control my volume. I turn it up. If I think for 1 second that you're not listening to us, we crank that shit up.
Wow, because a lot of the bars.
100 decibels. You know that, Frankie.
We'll crank it up, dude. Hey, you would think Skid Row was playing in the club.
Oh wow,
Loud.
that's a.
I'm just kidding. We are loud, but we're not like ear piercing loud. But all of our stuff is all powered Mackie stuff. It's all nice sounding, very clear. We get a lot of compliments on our sound, so obviously
very
we're
good.
doing something okay, I guess.
And with the actual, like what you were saying with the DB type of thing, over here we have to actually play to whatever the law stipulates. Even some of the venues have a DB meter plugged into in the American term, outlet, so it actually cuts the power off to the stage. I'm not kidding. And sometimes that's not very good for your gear. You know, and as you probably understanding current, if you turn everything off and turn it back on and it sucks all this current, it's going to blow something up, actually. And yeah, so I'm just wondering, do you guys have that issue? Any venues with a DB limit installed with the power?
I never have. I've had a couple places that have come and asked us to turn it down just because it was a restaurant environment. So we respected their wishes and turned down a little bit. But for the most part, well, we don't. We like it loud. If it's too loud, you're too old.
All right. Okay. And what about Sam? So most of the venues were you playing stadiums? I guess so. It's probably a different circuit.
No, we play anywhere though. We play, bars, clubs, stadiums. It doesn't matter.
Hey, Eddie.
But no, we usually don't. And if you're gonna come to a Black Oak Arkansas concert, we're gonna be loud, and I'm the loudest one up there. I don't even think about it. What you talking about? I don't know anything about these decibels.
Decibels. Decibels. So, and Frankie, do you use no digital modeling? You're using, like, what kind of amplifier? Is it pretty heavy geared, like a Fender or Fender Twin or something?
Well, most of the time, if we're doing a big show, a lot of those shows are powered. They're powered by people like TNT Sound, a couple other Nolan Sound around town. They bring big gear in, but for what we do in the clubs, we just use all of our powered Mackie stuff.
And for your guitar amps, you using valve amps?
I play Takamine acoustics, and I actually just plug into a direct box and go straight into the PA.
Oh, cool.
Now, my guitar, he plays through a head rush. If you're familiar with the head rush.
Yeah. So, with the circuit band playing, has there been a shift with using digital gear, or is it just analog gear?
I like everything. It don't matter. Well, Julian, my guitar player, usually the one that sets all that stuff up.
You've got your own road crew? That's awesome, man.
Well, no, he's definitely not a road crew. He's just the smartest one of the group.
All right, okay, fair enough. And what about you? And Sammy so thanks, John. Hope your friends are all safe. Hi friends. Hope you are all safe.
Hi, John.
Sam, when you're touring, does everyone? This is a good question. Does Black Oak Arkansas, do they take their own amplifiers on the road, or do you like rent a Marshall, or I don't know what you?
If we have to, but usually we have a rider, and usually our backline is provided, so we don't have to carry so much. Like we get the 3 Marshall 100 watts, for the guitars, and we'll get an orange or Ampeg freaking bass rig, and we usually get a Pearl drum set, so. Usually we don't have to take anything with us. We can just plug and play. Now, if it's a smaller club, of course, though, we will bring our own stuff in, but they provide all the lights and the sound for us, so we don't have to bring our sound in.
And when you tour, do you have like a tour bus, or do you actually like hire a bus or something? Or? We
did have a tour bus, and actually it broke down so many times that we just had to and so, exactly. I sold it to a fan actually out of Dallas, Texas, and he bought it. And he left all the original Black Oak stuff on there, so I thought that was pretty cool. Other than that, we usually rent one, or we rent one of the American RVs from American or Cruise America. is what it's called, and we actually rent one of them because you can go over any bridge. Of course, with this being a recreational vehicle, if you come over anything too big with a bus or something, it can detour us even getting to sound check on time. So
Oh wow, that's actually a very good point. So if you actually use a heavy vehicle, that will dictate the route that you take. Wow.
like we did in New York. We was heading to New York, and we was fixing to go over this kind of double decker bridge, and they were actually going to turn us around and make us go back, which would have took 45 minutes out of our time, which would have made us late sound check, and they would have dropped our pay. We done drove all this way. So we had an RV, and because we had a family recreational vehicle, you didn't have to have a special license to drive it. They actually let us through. So we didn't
Wow.
have and it was actually the cheapest route that we found, by far. So,
Wow. That's cool. And
yeah.
and what about yourself, Frankie? How do you get around town with all your gear?
We just rent anytime that a bus is one. That way, whenever I'm done with it, I turn it in. I don't have to pay the insurance or the note.
I don't know what the note means. So I don't know what.
The bill. We don't have
The
to
bill.
pay the monthly bill on it.
Oh right,
Monthly,
okay. The registration. Yeah, right. New terminology, man. Australian. Got no idea. So
We save the bills for someone else.
okay. I went. I was in the States in January, and I went to there's a club in California called just outside of what's LA called the Baked Potato. Do you know the Baked Potato? It's a jazz club. I don't know if you know. Anyway, Danny Carey from Tool was playing, and yes, he plays heavy music, and I think he just won some like Grammy Awards, didn't he? With that just recently. Anyway, what was really cool, he was playing in this band. I think it was the Jim something band. Anyway, he's a sensational player. It was musicians' music. I mean, probably the easiest thing to listen to was the 13/8 tune, and he was just cutting it up all over the place. What was really cool, my point to the story, after the gig, loading out, he was lugging his own gear, and I mean, the last time I saw him was in massive stadiums, and in this pickup, he just put it in a pickup truck, and I just thought it was so cool. He's just so down to earth, but a monster player, just a monster player, yeah. So that's what I thought was really cool.
hey,
And
That's funny that because we did a show with Colt Ford, and Jeff Bates played with us too. And Jeff Bates, I had seen him on previous shows, like you said, in coliseums and big places and big stadiums, and then whenever we played with him at the Jackson at the Carl Perkins Civic Center in Jackson, he actually showed up in a Ford Taurus.
yeah, right.
Yeah, he lived close by there, and it was no bus or no nothing. He just showed up in a Ford Taurus. He got out of it and come inside and played a few songs and got back in the car and took off.
Oh, that's amazing. And what about you, Sam? Do you know anyone who drives normal cars but they're rock stars?
I am.
Oh, at least you're honest. That is so funny.
I'll drive my Mitsubishi Endeavor to our shows and we'll have a ride, and I pile every one of our band members into my vehicle and put everything on top of it, and we go.
Oh, there we
We
go.
do.
And I guess that's reality, right? Because traveling to all these shows. Because in America you get to do that a lot because you've got dense population. It's a cost, right? So why are you going to burn so much money on, traveling?
That's
What's
true.
what's
We
the
have
what's that slogan that says a musician spends puts $5,000 worth of gear in a $500 car to go and play a $50 gig? Yeah, so
that's right. That's right.
That's
Or
true.
$11.
so maybe the last question then, just before we wrap it up. Do you guys have any advice on what people can do as fellow musicians? Because this is what this chat's about. Is what can they do to keep their chops up in the downtime, or any motivation? Maybe if you go first, Frankie. Do you have any ideas?
I would, are you talking about just something to do, like things to make money, or things to just keep your mind off of?
Yeah, mental health. Just like not getting down and out about it.
mental health, I would just tell everyone to stay mentally as strong as you can, stay healthy, wash your hands, keep your hands off your face.
Too late.
Stay 6 feet away from people if you can. I see you, Sammy. Um, I personally, I just ride my Harley all day. I go ride in the backwoods, and I stay way away from everybody. That's a matter of fact, I would have come in earlier on this conversation, but I was out riding, and whenever I got home, I got a message from Sammy there saying, "Come join us."
What Harley do you have? What Harley do you have?
I've got a 2020 Sport Street Glide.
Oh wow! I got a Fat Bob.
I love it. I love riding.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And what about you, Sam? What any suggestions you have?
Well, the only thing I suggest, just my own personal experience, find you something that you love to do as a hobby, even if you're not a musician. You know, plant a garden, plant a tree, plant one flower, even just something that makes our world a little bit of a better place. After all this is said and done, we've all been kind of leaning on each other. Everybody's going to be flooding all of the businesses again.
Yes.
But if we can just do something to spread a little bit of light in this world to make it a little bit better for when this is all over with. So just find a hobby to do.
With everything like it is and everybody being off, nobody has a reason to have a dirty yard or a dirty house.
My 2-year-old son, okay? That's all I'm saying.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you both for your time, and I know it's getting late there in America, but thank you for Gay Crash. But hopefully we can maybe do this again soon. But that's awesome about the Sean Lane comments, because I'm a Sean Lane fan, and we'll maybe talk more about recording.
You said. I hate to interrupt you. You said in America. Where are you at?
I'm in Australia. I'm in Brisbane, Australia. People ask me all the time if I have kangaroos in the backyard, and I say no, they're actually in the front yard. But it's a true story.
That's awesome.
It is, yeah.
What time is it in Australia right this second?
Right this second is 1:08 p.m. on the eastern side. So just after lunch, and this is, and I'm on Thursday. This is Thursday today.
And this is Wednesday here. We're in the past. We're in the past, Frankie.
Well, when I go to America, I get to have my day again. So when I fly to LA, I can start my day over again. Yeah. But anyway, true story. But lovely to meet you all. And we'll, someone's just put her here. Record. Excellent. And yeah, I will do this again soon, but thank you both for your time. If you just want to stay on for a sec, and we'll wave and see everyone off, and I'll speak to you again very shortly.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate y'all inviting me.